In 1974, a movie would come out looking and feeling a lot like it's of true origins and true documentary feel to it, like real events that's happened. It would terrify audiences of all ages. And now, this year, marking its 50th anniversary, it still to this day terrifies people of all ages. We're talking about none other than the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Opening scene, the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. We get a full-on close-up shot, bam, in your face like this, of a corpse. The sun slowly rising. And as the camera pans back, right here in this spot, sitting right about here, is where we start seeing that it's a full corpse, not just a head, sitting on top of another pike or maybe the top of another tombstone, holding another corpse. And as the camera pans back, it's kind of at an angle like this. We can see the corpses here. We can see this in the background. We can see this long flat one here, this tall one, and then the foot of it. Bam! And you're sitting here and you got the news story playing, talking about the bodies, you know, the grave robbing.
Do you remember the first time you saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I would say I was probably 8th, 9th grade, maybe. Somewhere up in there, like right going into high school or something. Because whenever I was younger, I wasn't really into the horror stuff. It wasn't until I started getting older. And then I saw Halloween. That's what got me hooked. And I owned every Halloween movie on VHS. And then I got into Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then Friday the 13th. Then Scream came out. Huge Scream fan. So, yeah.
I think the first time I watched it was actually whenever we were dating at my parents' house. But I remember whenever we first watched it, I literally thought it was like a true story.
Oh, yeah, I did too. The way it comes on with it saying, these happened to these people, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I did too. Like, it wasn't probably until I was, I'd say early to mid-20s before, like, I realized, oh, this is not an actual, like, documentary, true story event. It's based off of stuff that a guy did, but not to the extreme of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So,
yeah, it made me never want to come to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I'm like, I'm not going through Texas, especially not like, you know, the barren part of Texas where there's not a lot of like people and everything. Cause I'm like, I don't want to pull over at some gas station and end up like them suckers in the movie.
Yeah, so it did its job. Like,
yeah.
it does terrify you to the point where you're like, I'm never going there.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, I'm staying out of Texas. Mm-mm. And then now we come to Texas and like we love Texas. So this is the first shot we get of the gang's van, that green old van, and it would have been facing this way, right about where this power line is, and the shot would have been down like this, kind of catty corner, so you can see the van this way. They let the ramps down. Franklin's got to pee. He takes his little can, he rolls out. The camera cuts this way, and we see the back of Kirk standing here with the diesel coming in this direction. The camera then cuts this way, and we get a full-on shot of the van with the ramps out. Now, Franklin would roll off and end up rolling down a hill that's just on the other side of these bushes. And if we walk this way, you can actually see, or you can see, it's a nice little roll down. After Franklin's rolled down the hill, the gang is headed to the cemetery because Sally and Franklin's granddaddy is buried here, and they've heard about the grave robbing, so they want to make sure that his grave is not one of the ones that's been robbed. And then the scene, we see the van kind of coming in this direction. Now, once again, no zoom lens, but you can see this stone right here. It says pickle on the front of it. As the camera is following the van, you get a close-up image of that, but you can see this in the foreground. You can see the pickle, and then you line it up just about like this, because it's blocking that one. You can see this one over here in the background. Now, this headstone here is white, kind of round top. In the movie, it's now been broken off, but you kind of get something about like this right here. And the camera's kind of really fast. You see the pickle, and then it's gone as the gang is coming down this way to actually turn in. The gang's past the shot where we see the pickle tombstone, and they're slowing down on the other side of the fence because they see a lot of people out there. And you kind of get a shot right here, mainly of this tombstone and this one. If you zoom in, you can see that it says Cromley on it. But in the movie, the camera's kind of up and zoomed in, like that's supposed to, like the cemetery kind of goes down a hill, which clearly it doesn't. It's pretty flat, but not as extreme as what the movie looks like. The gang has pulled in right here where there's several other cars, and they would have been right through here in this grass. Now the gate has been extended because right here beside me, there's an old fence post right here, and here's one of the original gate markers, but the fence would run clear down to the other side of this building. You might can see a little bit of the other one right there. So they would have been parked over here. Once they get out, the camera is going to kind of pan around this way. Well, it doesn't pan, it just cuts in this direction right here. And what we see is a guy, camera's down low like this, right in the guy's face. And he's laying there, beer bottle kind of up next to his mouth, laughing and laid out, half drunk. Good times. So the guy's walking with Sally. He's brought her into the cemetery to help find her granddaddy's grave. And as the camera starts panning, we see them walk right through where the opening scene with the body, where the corpse was. And as they're walking, it's kind of down, and the lens is zoomed way in, because it cuts right through. We can see this stone, this white one, and there's a marble one back there with this one kind of in the foreground. This bush would not have been there. It's kind of down like this, and it's just following them until it gets right about here where this tree is. Now, this tree and this tree would not have been there during the movie, because if you had it zoomed all the way in, you would see 3 tall pillar tombstones that are all white and dirty, and it's zoomed way in. I mean, it's zoomed in so close as we see them walk by them that they're like this, all up in your face and real blurry. The next shot we get of the van driving by is when they pass by the slaughterhouse. Now, the slaughterhouse location is just on the other side of this road. As you can tell, it's no longer there. But the camera would be shooting from the slaughterhouse back this way, because as the van passes, you can see cows right close to you, and then you can see this road right through here. Right about where that horse is a foundation. where it looks like part of the slaughterhouse used to sit. Over here looks like some old feeding troughs that are still there, or a foundation of something. But we can see the railing here, and this old railing right here is also captured in the shot. It was kind of foreshadowing in the movie, them passing by the slaughterhouse and them talking about the slaughterhouse and how, you know, which is better, the hammer or the gun, because later on in the movie, 2 out of the 4 deaths is used by a hammer from Leatherface. Both Kurt and Jerry, taken by the slaughter hammer. Get a long shot from across the road of the gang and their van going by. They passed the slaughterhouse. We see the van. It's kind of a wide shot like this. Now, this has since been turned into a split 4-lane, but after that passes by, they say something about, hey, there's a hitchhiker, let's pick them up. Just down where this light pole is, with this intersection, we'd see the hitchhiker standing on the side of the road trying to flag them down. After they pick up the hitchhiker, it's just a short ride, about 1.5 miles coming this direction. Conversation doesn't go the way it should. The gang gets freaked out by the hitchhiker setting the picture on fire that nobody will give him $2 for, and then cutting Franklin on his left forearm. So just across the road, this would have been a little 2-lane back in the day, right where you see these trucks and like this quarry gravel pit looking place is, that's actually on that side, in that area is where they would have kicked out the hitchhiker. Everybody's freaking out. They drive off. He's steadily kicking the van and wiping blood down the side of it. It looks like he's probably trying to write something or mark the van, you know, for later on. But he's kicking the crap out of it. He's pissed. He's, you know, throwing a usual fit. And then everybody drives off, and Franklin's all freaking out because he's bleeding. And, you know, it's Franklin. What more can you expect? We have the scene when we first see the gas station, and it's just like, kind of like this right here. We see a guy, doesn't look too bright, sitting on a stool, kind of right here in front of this area. And he's got a metal mop bucket that says white on the front of it. We see the gang, I'm gonna get my camera back straight, kind of pull in, and as they pull in, sitting right here about where this water spot is a gas pump. They're going to pull in and pull right here on this cement slab, and as they do, the camera kind of comes right in front of the van like this and stops. And as it stops, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a light pole right here. Just to that side of that light pole is, oh, camera missed totally up. Just to the left of this light pole is a sign that says Gulf. Camera pans back. The sign's still the same. Coca-Cola, We Slaughter, Barbecue. All that's still the same. Still the same chairs. Then we get a shot. The camera clips back, and it's shooting through the driver's side, out the other side. You can see this door. The cook comes out, and he's talking to him. As he does, the camera kind of clips back like this. And he's talking about, I don't have any gas. You know, tanks are empty. Truck won't be here until this afternoon. But we got some good barbecue. You guys can come in and wait. they start asking about, Franklin asking about if he knows where this house is that his dad owns, and the cook is like, "Hey, you guys don't need to go up there. You know, these girls don't wanna go up and do all that. Stay here, have some barbecue and everything." And he leaves, and during that process, the guy looking at the sun's been washing the windshield on the van, and he taps on the van, walks off. Then he comes back. The guy comes back, continues to wash until the cook goes inside. When he does, they say, "Hey, we should have asked him if there's another gas station." He's like, "Oh, don't you think he would have told us?" He's like, "I knew we should have stopped back there." But he gets out, goes in. The girls come around, and right here was an old Coca-Cola um, bottle vending machine. The girls are trying to get it out. That vending machine is actually inside the gas station now. Then he comes back out and says, "Hey, I got us some good barbecue," and they pan around, or the camera pans, and we watch the gang in the van drive off to what they wouldn't know was going to be their demise. But only thing they're missing out here, other than the Coke machine right here, is right in front of this post was a red newspaper. I say machine, but where you can put the quarter in, get the newspaper out. But that was actually sitting right here. So here at the gas station, they have this memorial bench in memory of those who went before. The saw is family. It's even got a chainsaw, the hammer with a leather face on it. And then here we have Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface, Toby Hooper, director producer, Bob Burns, art director. Jim is the cook, window washer. Marilyn Burns is Sally, and Paul Ortain is Franklin. All the ones that's passed on. And you got a nice barbed wire tie. State of Texas with the man. And then down here it's different people who's said things about the movie. Rest in peace, Droopy. Leatherface was never a monster, just an insecure, artistic family man with a chainsaw. Rest in peace, Gunner. In memory of the ones we haven't lost yet, the Sawyer family. And the list goes on. It's pretty cool. Now you can take pictures of this, but you can't sit on the bench here at the gas station. But the gas station not only is where they shot the exterior, but also it is a horror merchandise store and a restaurant.
I didn't even notice this because it was kind of blocked in by some other vehicles. But over here on the corner, they have a very old truck sitting here that looks a lot like the cook's truck. Whenever he is like, "Sally, going to get some help. We're going to go ride and get some help." And he pulls his truck up to the front of the gas station. It looks a lot like it.
Oh, I didn't even notice it. It does. It looks exactly like the cook's truck. That's awesome. I'm telling you, all they need is the red newspaper stand thing out front and the old Coca-Cola machine, which is inside. That's awesome.
Back of the gas station, they actually have a green van that looks just like the gang's van. Like, you can literally just picture Franklin, Sally, Kirk, Jerry, and Pam all cruising in this thing, except for the tires are flat.
Ugh, Franklin. Ugh.
Yeah, it looks like it's seen better days, but pretty cool that they have something that looks very similar to the movie. I just wish they would have actually have put like the bloody handprint thing that, you know, the hitchhiker tried to
Try to write something on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would have been made it even better.
I mean, what would have made the movie even better, if not greatest of all time, they would have left Franklin Butt at home. I mean,
but you could see like, I mean, literally like open the doors and put the boards out for Franklin to freaking roll out in the wheelchair.
I don't think out of all in the history of horror slasher movies have I ever wished for such a speedy death on a character as much as I have Franklin.
Franklin was annoying, but he was the only one that was slightly reasonable. Like, he was like, hey, we need to get out of here.
I mean, that's true.
He made sense.
That's true, but it still don't make him any less annoying. Like, I would have had to roll his butt out with the hitchhiker right off the rip. I mean, I'm telling you, with a little elbow grease and some new parts, this could be a pimping van, I'm telling you. Need to get Pimp My Ride out here.
I don't even think they have that show no more.
In this shot, Sally and Franklin have been out looking for everybody else in the woods. Leatherface has just offed Franklin in his wheelchair. Sally has left Leatherface's home, and she's running to get help. And we see her running. You see this pole. She turns. She comes down this way. She tries to go in the door here, but it's locked. She actually hits it. Then we see her run past this window that's actually got the same chairs and the same setup in it. And she ends up hitting this door and busting through into the kitchen where she gets captured.
She runs into the cook, and that fool breaks a broom off on her.
So with the camera kind of goes from straight on. We see at this angle. Then it's panned like this, where she actually tries to bust in the door. Then it comes around, and it's actually shot from this angle. We see her coming this way. It pans back to the side this way. Then we get kind of like this nighttime shot, dark shot of her kind of running through this way. And then she busts straight into this door, the straight on shot, and falls through the door.
So we couldn't leave here without actually buying some of the pork. Or brisket, I should say. That's what we got. Barbecue brisket. We have to try it, but I wonder, who am I eating?
I mean, it does say we slaughter barbecue.
Might be Franklin.
If it is, that's some really old meat.
Well, if it is Franklin, it's delicious. We have made it to the actual Texas Chain Saw Massacre house. Now, it's not really worth lining up in anything in the area around it because this house doesn't sit in the original filming location. It was actually cut up into 7 pieces and moved, I think it was about 80 miles due to road work, like new roads being put in Texas. But nonetheless, they put the house back together, restored it, and it is now a restaurant. Now, the first shot we get of the house, you actually see these chimney peaks, like in the distance. Kirk and Pam have ventured off to go try to find the swimming hole that Franklin has told them about. Now, they round the side of the house, come along this way, and go up to the front door. because they're in search of gas. And there's the front door right there. It's where Kirk would have knocked and not gotten an answer.
Hello,
so
hello?
he just would have walked on in and unfortunately been hit on the head and drugged back into the back.
The camera would have cut to about this angle here where we see Kurt still knocking on the door. He turns around, kind of looks at the window and hears something fall. The camera would have panned down. We see the tooth. We see Kurt's hand pick the tooth up. The camera comes back up at this angle. We see Kurt put his jacket or something, sweater,
it's a blanket,
yeah,
towel thing,
kind of on
from where they were going swimming at the creek.
And then he turns and he reaches over Pam's shoulder, at which point the camera would have been here. We would have got a really extreme close-up of the hand with the tooth going in it. And then as she screams and drops, the camera backs up and we see her storm off. It then pans back to Kurt, up high. Kurt knocks on the door. That's when the door opens. The camera then cuts to right beside the stairs, and we see Kurt looking and entering the house.
Dum dum dum.
After Kirk's taken by Leatherface into the back, we get a shot kind of like this of Pam in the swing. The camera in her face, and she's screaming for Kurt. But the most important shot is about this angle. Our lens is a little wider though, so it's all right. But it's kind of down low because this starts underneath the swing. She gets up to go check on Kurt. The camera actually goes under the swing. We'll say it about right here, and then it's real low to the ground because it's just kind of just off to the side of Pam, kind of underneath her butt, shooting up at her like this. But what is important with the scene that we want to line up is as she's walking, let me bring the camera back up, you can see the chimney, you can see this balcony here that still looks the same, still has the same railing. You can see this antenna and the one behind it. You can see this chimney. You can barely see this antenna. You can see the whole front of the house like this. The only thing that's changed is with this portion of the house. There used to be this little wooden decorative thing right here close to the top on both sides of the peak that's no longer there. But all the antennas are still there. There's actually a second chimney right behind this peak. Even with this one, you just can't see it in the shot. But all of this is how the shot would have gone. The camera would have followed her up, stopping as she continues on to the house to check on poor Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's even got, I don't know if you can see it, 2 bloody handprints in each window up there.
So here's a back shot of the house. Now actually you would see the back shot whenever Sally is running to the house, and definitely whenever she is running up the stairs and she bursts out through one of these windows and comes crashing down on the ground and takes off running to the gas station. It's crazy. I mean, it still pretty much looks the same with the peaks and everything. I mean, it's like, if there wasn't...
It's the same color, it's just had a little new coat of paint.
If there wasn't a lot of people here right now, like eating, like it would be like creepy to like see this house, like...
Yeah.
Because this is just one of those iconic horror movies that, I mean, typically you don't get to go inside the house where these movies were filmed.
No, this is, like, I just can't believe it's actually been preserved. Like, you know, because we get so used to going and doing movie locations where things have been torn down, like with the Jeepers Creepers, stuff is gone, or it's boarded up, like Grandpa's house. But this...
It's crazy to see in person.
Awesome.
So yeah, when you see Jerry actually come around to the house, he actually takes a similar path to Kirk and Pam whenever they get here. Here's the side profile of the house. After Sally has escaped the gas station and unfortunately been brought back to the house by the cook and had a gruesome dinner with the family, she manages to escape and come out that window right there where you see the open sign. Now, in the shot, you can see these two panes up here at the top, just above the window she comes out of.
Yep, and the window that she comes out in with the open sign, still has the two panes. They just replaced it because in the movie it would have been two panes and then two panes again towards the bottom. It's just the windows kind of, newer.
So she would have tore off away from the house, but like I said, this is not the original location of the house, so you're not going to find Leatherface doing his famous dance over there on that road.
Chainsaw dance.
Okay.
She all about jumping out the windows.
Yeah, she did, and screaming a lot, but
Scream, jump out the window on the second story, then jump out the window on the first story, still screaming.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to go inside now and grab something to eat and try to line up these shots on the inside. Honestly, out of all the filming locations we've done, to me this is the most terrifying because of this particular shot you're seeing right now.
The only difference is there should be a steel, same color though, but it should be a steel sliding barn style door that covers it. And it would have been this shot where we see Kirk just like this, because you can see the banister ball and the sides here when Kirk is coming through the door to meet his demise. Kirk, Jerry, and pretty much Pam will all take the same path from the front door. Right through here, Pam will cut into this room, which is the dining room. It's a dark scene. Kurt makes it to here, to the door. It slides open, hit in the head with Leatherface. Jerry, the door is left open after Leatherface takes Pam out. And he actually will walk all the way into the back and to the left where he sees the bloody hooks and finds Pam in the freezer before Leatherface ends his life also. Pam will actually turn into this room. This room would have been dark. The camera would have been facing towards us right now. She walks in here, kind of turns, and over this doorway would have been two curtains, a little light peeking through. There's a pot sitting right on the floor in front of the curtain. So as she sees that there's light through here, she thinks Kurt's in there. She bolts for the curtain, and right before she enters, she kicks the pot through the curtain. She falls down face first, ripping the curtain off the wall, and she is now in the bone and feathers room. She's looking around. She sees all the weird stuff. The bones, the human bones, the chicken in the cage, the feathers all over the floor, all the weird crap everywhere, the broken turtle shells hanging from the ceiling, the couch made out of bone. She gets a little nauseous. She picks herself up. She comes back through here. You can see the curtain laying there on the floor again. She comes back through here, and as she makes her way back out this door across from the stairwell, boom, Leatherface. That was actually good timing. She attempts to run. The camera would pan. She gets to the door. The camera goes to the outside the door. Leatherface grabs her at the door, brings her back into the back and to the left where Kirk has met his demise. Leatherface puts her up on the hooks. She screams in agony. And we see Leatherface use the chainsaw for the first time as he cuts Kurt into little pieces.
So in this particular room, this is where, you know, they're having their dinner. So Grandpa would have been over here at the head of the table. And then you would have had the cook, hitchhiker, Leatherface, her unlucky Sally right here at the end.
And this table is set up in the exact same place as the movie. You just gotta picture it, okay, without all the rest of the table.
This is a lot more cleaned up.
Yeah, a lot more cleaned up.
But, you know, directly through that would have been the kitchen.
Yep.
This would have been the chicken and bone room.
The chicken and bone room, yep. And that's the window Sally would have went crashing out at the end when she's trying to get away from the family.
And also, I like the decorations. And they're going with the theme. Chicken picture.
I love it.
There's another scene in this room, too, whenever, after Leatherface eliminates Jerry, he runs in here, throws the curtains open of this window, and looks out.
It's ironic that it's the same window that because he's concerned. He's been killed, you know, a couple people, and you can tell he's like, after Jerry, he's like, what have I done? Why did I kill him? Have I made a mistake? Is it going to come back?
Probably because, you know, the dad, I'm assuming he's the dad, the cook.
Yeah.
Assuming he's the dad of the family. You know, he knows he's going to be irate, which he is in the end. Yeah. He's like, what you do to my door? You crazy.
Yeah. So you tell he's all distraught, and it's just ironic that he throws open the same window because he looks out at it, make sure nobody else is coming, and it's the same window that Sally ends up jumping out at the end to actually escape everyone.
And I did see this over here when we were going out.
All pictures of them actually from filming. That's pretty sweet.
Whenever Sally is trying to escape Leatherface, when she comes into the house, unknowing that this is Leatherface's house, and he, you know, he's like tearing the door apart, and he comes in, like, she runs up these stairs before he gets into the house. So she comes up these stairs basically twice. The first time she comes up here, she's looking for somebody to help her, and she sees Grandpa in his disgusting state. And then at that point, Grandpa scares her, and she runs back down the stairs. Now, this is when Leatherface has burst through the door, so she's like, dang it, I can't go that way. So she comes back up here and goes straight out those windows.
The windows with the bloody prints on them. So she would have ran and jumped. Now, in the movie, let me tone this down a little bit. In the movie, this wouldn't have been so long of a thing. There's actually a door that she originally tries to go in when she's basically running after she runs through the woods. And she would have, so it wasn't this long, so she would have jumped out, hit a little awning right about here, and then fell off on the ground. And probably what I can imagine would be a lot of pain.
So up here at the top of the stairs, they actually have a photo right here of an old picture of the house. And then if you turn around, right behind you, is Grandpa himself. Now, honestly, when I first saw this thing, I was like terrified to even get close to it. Because like I'm half expecting him to move and suck on my finger, even though it's not bloody.
I cleaned it up. I was looking out the window and I turned around and freaking hit it. Before I could grab it, hit the ground. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Are you gonna move? Are you? And then they have a little book here that you can sign with bloody rags underneath it.
So a tragedy has struck us. I was here going over some stuff with Renee, and whenever I went to point back this way,
Your big floppy hand.
This lovely little light globe here on this side, I hit it by accident, and it shatters all over the floor. I broke a piece of Leatherface's house. But us here at Exit to Adventure, if we can, we clean up our messes. So I got a broom and a thing from the dude, and I'm going to clean it up versus forcing them to do it. That's how we roll here.
Are you going to sign it for us?
I mean, I don't want to after breaking the freaking
They're going to be
light.
like, that's that dude right there.
Like, you see that signature? That's them idiots who freaking broke the thing. But I'm going to sign it anyway. Alright.
At this point, we need him to reach over and grab you. So we've officially signed it. We were here. They have their cocktail list pretty much themed Texas Chain Saw Massacre for the most part. Your first one is Chainsaw Margarita. And then you got Hitchhiker Highball, Grandpa Sawyer. It's me. I like it. I like that they embrace the horror of this building.
I feel like if you're gonna cut this house up into 7 pieces and relocate it to save it,
It's dedication.
you kind of need to incorporate it
And
into
I
your
appreciate it. Appreciate all of it.
There he is. That is awesome.
Sorry.
That is awesome.
Toy chainsaw, but you can't really tell the.
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, even on our camera, it looks real. Oh, man, that is so freaking great. Nice.
I've seen you walk over there, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, he's a big fan."
Oh, yeah.
This is the 50th anniversary, dude.
Yeah.
We're working on doing a deal the weekend before or after things or Halloween.
Right.
Since this is the 50th anniversary, we're going to
Nice.
try and get actors and stuff here. It's a lot of logistics.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
a lot of stuff to make it happen.
Oh. This is great. So I take it you're the owner?
Nope,
No?
I just work here.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm the innkeeper. My official job title is innkeeper. I take care of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
But I do the maintenance on the restaurants and bookkeeping for this place.
I got you.
I'm a jack of all trades.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with
It's my
that.
favorite part of my job,
Yeah.
and I love
all
of
it.
my job. But
I love it.
posing with people, it's like so much fun.
That's it for this Texas Chain Saw Massacre filming locations. It's a wrap. Now, we did not get to do, unfortunately, it's heartbreaking, the very end of the movie where Sally's escaping the family's house. She's running down the road. The 18-wheeler hits the hitchhiker. The other truck comes, picks Sally up. She's laughing hysterically with that crazy look on her face. And where Leatherface does the infamous dance.
I mean, I can do a rendition right now. Like,
Good. Yep, just missing the chainsaw. So the reason we couldn't get to these shots was because where they are located, that area doesn't exist anymore. The house, as you saw, has been moved. The grandparents' house is gone. And the road that all of that takes place at the very end of the movie has a ginormous apartment complex right smack in the middle of where it was supposed to be.
yeah.
I'm talking about like 5, 6, 7-story high apartment complex that's still being built. So it is what it is. But we got everything else. So I guess we can at least be grateful to get to go by the gas station and the family house that's still standing.
Yeah.
So rock and roll. Kudos to you guys for keeping that piece of movie iconic history open and available to the rest of us. Big shout out to our VIP Road Warrior patron, the Crip Lady. Thank you for your support each month. You guys can support us too if you head over to our channel, Exit to Adventure, Patreon, all different tiers for everybody. And support us here. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe here on YouTube. Subscribe to all of our social media, please. We much greatly appreciate it. And thank you for watching this video. Leave some comments if you've ever been out to these locations. And leave us some comments if there's a certain horror or slasher film that you would love for us to do in the future. As always, we will catch you guys down the road at the next exit.
Keep it spooky.
Later.